And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again for our Amazon family. Welcome. We have a lot coming up for you guys as we're heading into October and October Prime Days. So if you guys have not done so already, make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You also will see some of the books from our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Tanya White to our broadcast today. She's a media personality. She's also a best-selling author, and she's a motivational speaker and educator as well. We're going to talk to her about what it's been like for her to do what she loves in her different platforms. You see her book here, Professional Lynched. We've talked about that before, but I want to highlight for you guys on Amazon the book, The Prayers of the Righteous, as well. We're going to get into that a little bit. What is it that prompted her to write that book and to be able to make a connection around the issue and topic of grief as well? We are simulcasting our broadcast, so we do welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We're glad you all can be with us. Kabil, hello to you. Good to be able to see you. Glad you'll be able to join us over there on Facebook. Tanya, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you, Cyrus Webb. Thank you for having me.
Look, it's always fun to be able to talk with you, and congratulations on what's been a very busy. We were just talking about busy 2024 for you. We're in the home stretch. So one more quarter to go, Tanya. So let's start off by talking about walking in purpose, because that is one thing that you've been able to do with the different hats you've been able to wear as an author, educator, media personality, motivator. What has that been like for you to recognize your purpose and passion, Tanya, and to walk in that?
Oh, well, I've recognized my purpose decades ago, but it's different. And I want people to understand it's different in recognizing and walking in it.
Yeah.
Recognizing is fun, Cyrus, because you get to write all these things down or what you want to do, you know your purpose, but walking in it consistently with courage and with focus and intentionality is a whole different thing. And so you have to be disciplined, you have to be proactive, you have to be consistent, and you have to be strategic, which requires you to have, you say I wear many hats. Yes, I'm a school director, media host, author, auntie, and I wear all those hats. And so it is very important for me to be balanced, prioritize, and get the job done. Because if one of those hats get dropped to the floor, it's a domino effect. And so, yes, it's very, it can be overwhelming at times. But the only thing that when I'm overwhelmed, it's like something that I look at and say, what do I need to manage better? What do I need to prioritize? And what do I need to let go at this season that is no longer benefiting my overall goal? And so I would say walking in purpose is easy. Recognizing purpose is easy. Walking in it is the most difficult thing. And you have to be consistent and prioritize.
Tanya, you just said a whole lot right there. And when I mean, I'm sure our audience can resonate with that. I want to go back to what you said, and that is, it's one thing to write down, here we are, we're in that season, people getting ready for New Year's resolutions again, and they're talking about what they're going to do instead of focusing on what they could be getting done. What has helped you, I guess is the question, to go from just thinking it and planning it to actually doing it?
Well, and we're going to get into that. It's loss of loved ones, and knowing that life is very short. And so when you lose a loved one unexpectedly, or even you expectedly, you're expecting it due to sickness.
Yeah.
It puts your mind into perspective and gets you focused on, okay, what am I doing? What I need to stop talking about it and start doing it. And so I love vision boards. I love them. But one thing I do not love about it is that a lot of us spend the time of creating these cute boards, but we don't have an action plan to go with it. And so I'm all about the action. Yes, you got to have a vision, but you also have to couple that vision with action, and you got to move. And when you say action, and when you looking at your vision, the many things that people don't realize why they don't manifest that vision is because they're not willing to let go of the comfortable to move to the uncomfortable. And so I was able to do that when dealing with loss of my dad, my mom, my fiance, and just friends and loved ones just unexpectedly, and realizing life is short. And so I need to stop talking about it and being about it. And when I got that realization and it's like no holds bars. And so.
And I think that is the big thing. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, Tanya, because I want people, for those who don't have the book here, to be able to see. I'm going to highlight for you guys on Amazon. But The Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much is the title of the book. I read this book first last year. It's available here. You guys can get it on Amazon, the paperback you can see there for $15. So definitely pick it up. But one thing I wanted to say about this book that is something I've had to learn as a suicide attempt survivor,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that a lot of times, especially when you're a person of faith, and people know, and people of faith will say things sometimes meaning well, right? But not realizing that, for one thing, it's not the right thing to say or the right time to say it. What was it like for you to go through the process of being a person of faith and knowing God, but also dealing with the very humanness, as you were just talking about, of loss?
Yes. So, Cyrus, those people who know me know I call my show Real Talk with Tanya White, rated R for being real, relevant, and refreshing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very real. I've had to learn how to restrain some of my realness when it comes to talking. But I had to learn, because the human part takes over the spiritual part, especially when you losing a parent. My dad died. He walked out, was going to dialysis, and we got the call. And so it was unexpected. My mom, she was in hospital for 5 months. And so it was a slow process. And so I think with my mom's death, my dad was gone. I was the oldest. I am the oldest. And dealing with that, dealing with accepting the law that we're going to lose our mom, and the human part of the daughter. Okay, I want her to live. And then my little, I want to say my leadership skills of knowing what to say when to say it helped me. And also helped my siblings, because when people don't know what to say, they say stupid things. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to, when you don't know what to say, it is okay not to say anything and to be there in the present. Because if you don't know what to say, you say something stupid, that can, and when I say stupid, when somebody's dying, yes, we know it's people of faith. They're going to be with the Lord. But at that time, that is not to say, oh, they're better off. You don't want to hear that about your mother, the woman who gave you birth. You don't want to hear that about your fiance, the one that you thought you was going to marry and have a new life with. Your dad, you don't want to hear that at that time. At the time of the loss, the immediate loss, there's not that time to say anything. Sometimes I want people to know, when you don't know what to say, don't say anything. And so I had to verbalize it to people. Now, I didn't verbalize it in a very Christian way. Let me tell you that. But I learned, reflecting back, writing the book, that it was okay for me to verbalize my feelings, even though they were not very in a loving way. But for me at that time, those were my true feelings. I had to say it at that time, and reflecting on writing that book gave me the words to say the next time I deal with this. Now I know how to say in a cordial and Christian manner, but my feelings are okay to say.
Yeah. And that is the thing. You said something else that's so important, Tanya. That is, there's that. I see a meme a lot, and I think it's so true, to check on your strong friends, because a lot of times, I remember when my grandmother died, I was the one that was her caregiver. So even the cousins that were older than me looked to me to kind of handle things, and we everything. But it was after everything was over that I realized I hadn't taken the time to really grieve myself, because I was trying to make sure everybody else was good, and everything was that whole checklist thing, right? And so I think a lot of times we don't think about that. Do you think that has brought a extra layer of empathy, though, to your platform, like Real Talk with Tanya White, because you do know, in talking with different types of people, what it can be like to have to sometimes to grieve in silence, to go through things in silence outside of the success that people may see?
Absolutely. And also, my background as an educator, education teacher for 13 years, and dealing with that. I always, going into that field, I always knew there was a story behind the story. It's not the actions that people display. There's a story of pain behind, defiance, behind rude behavior. And so even being the special ed teacher gave me a level of empathy to know, hey, let's dig deeper. And sometimes we don't want to dig deeper as society, because we're in a microwave society. We want to handle it instantly. But being empathetic, when you lose something personally and you go through something very personal where you have to heal and really go through therapy and readjust your normal life, you can be patient and understanding. You can listen, uh, not just listen as an act, but an art of listening to people and doing what they say. Sometimes just people want you to listen. Don't offer any advice. That's the art of listening. And knowing when to speak, knowing when to not speak, especially when you're dealing with loss. A lot of people want to come over and just they feel the need to talk, but sometimes just coming over, being there, watching a movie, cleaning up, just being, you don't even have to be in the same room, just being in the house. So just developing the art, and that's where the empathetic comes. Sometimes dealing with students and other people who are grieving, I know the pain, even though I'm not in that same situation, but I know the level of pain, especially those who are caretakers like you were, I was, in that silent struggle of grief that nobody will understand, because hey, you're the strong one. You shouldn't feel this way. You're a woman of faith. You know God. Yes, I am. But the human part of me needs to cry. The human part of me needs to scream. The human part of me needs to say some things that, the spiritual part will understand. But as the human part, I need to get out at that time. And so it has allowed me to develop another level, another depth of empathy when dealing with people, all people.
Yeah. Love that. Once again, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. We're speaking today with Tanya White. You know her as a media personality. She's an author, educator, speaker. We're talking with her about her journey, of course, her current success, but also her books like we just talked about here, The Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much, as well as the book Professional Lynched. We're going to talk a bit about that, but we also were talking about this journey that she's been on. It's helped her to do the things she's doing today. I think it's very interesting. You were talking about being an educator, and this book, of course, Professional Lynched, shares a bit of your story. You say on the back of it here, I tell you, this is not a tell-all book, it's a tell the truth book.
Yes.
Truth is a very big part of your platform, but I want to ask you, what was it like for you to be on the other side? Because we're used to, especially as a talk show host, we're used to just focusing on the person in front of us. What was it like for you to look in the mirror and to tell your own story? What was that like?
First, it was scary. I held on to what only my close friends and family knew at the time what I was going through. Went through it for 7 years. And once I left, I was still holding on to things that my therapist this is hurting you in other areas. You need to speak about it. Then I went to Indiana Black Expo book talk with Angel Clay, and she was talking about being bullied, being dismissed in her field of IT. She was a high-level C-suite IT professional, and just listening to her, I was like, okay, she's telling my story. And so she gave me the language to use so that I can tell my truth of what I endured as an educator. Many Black women especially hold on and try to live. We try to live the strong Black woman syndrome. You're a strong Black woman. You invited to the table. Yes, we're invited to the table, but we're not welcome when we get to the decision-making table. It is very much still a slave mentality. Very superficial. They want to have your Black face at the table, but they don't want you to say anything. They don't want you to offer any opinions. And when you do, that's when the attack starts. And so hearing Angel and also Jennifer Farmer, I met at telling their stories about being a professional Black women, but really what they were enduring gave me the language to tell a very truthful story and not tell all to just tell our book. No, this what happened to me. It was wrong. It still is wrong, but I'm gonna tell my truth whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I love that, and I think that it is one of those things, though. I think that is so important because just like you were allowed to see, you weren't the only one.
Yes.
Someone who now knows you, who may not know, because honestly, when you first told the account you just told, I didn't know who either one of those two people were, but I know you. And I think, people who know you will say, wow, if Tanya went through that, you know what I'm saying, then that's something, that I can get through. But I also think it's something that can be applied to, of course, you're talking about in your profession and education, can be applied. So many people are able to do. Is that one of the connections you've been able to make, Tanya, through the book? People saying, I went through something like that too in my line of work.
Absolutely. When I first, even before the book came out, and I was doing the pre-promos with the book cover, I had a lot of people inbox me say, I'm a nurse. I'm in this profession. I go through the same thing. I can't wait to read your book, because it is the same mentality of trying to hold Black people down, because we are influential. And when we get at the decision-making table, we make changes and decisions for all people. That's what people don't recognize. We come from a very inclusive type of mindset. And when systems, especially racist systems and institutionalized racism, want to keep it that way, they do not want you to have a voice. And especially when you have a not only a voice, but influence with everybody, which I had, my students, my teachers, my parents. That's when they was seeing what I was talking about. It was like, you went through that, but Miss White, you always smiled. You always helped us. I said, mm-hmm. So you never know what somebody's going through. And so in doing that and telling my truth, it helps people to see, hey, let's help the strong people. Like you said, check on in on strong people, because people who knew me and I serviced did not know exactly what I was going through, did not know why I took 2 medical leaves. They thought it was something physical. No, it was very emotional and professionally taxing. And so when you speak your truth, it does help other people see, hey, let me not only let me speak my truth, but hey, let me check up on and see how people are really doing, who I think are strong. And that goes to my other book. There's a battle behind every smile that you see. And so just because you see people smiling all the time doesn't mean they don't have any battles. They're just pressing through the battles that they are enduring.
Love that. And it's a great way to encourage people and give them permission to tell their own stories. And with that said, one thing we have not talked about recently is that I've been calling you an author, but you also are a publisher. What has that been like for you to build a platform, Tanya, where you can help other people tell their stories?
Woo, Jesus. Yeah, on that other side, it's hard. It's very hard because Cyrus, people think, oh, I want to write a book and I'm just gonna get my publisher and they're gonna do all the work. I'm not that publisher, okay? I want you to know that writing a book is hard work. Not just the writing, but writing a quality book. So one thing that, and I've slowed down on accepting clients because people think, oh, I'm gonna get with Tanya. She's gonna do everything. No. If you are not well versed in basic things of writing, we're gonna go through that. Okay. Let's get what are you writing about? Dig deeper. Yes, tell your story, but why do people want to hear that story? And so, as a publisher, you have to let people know, oh, the guts and glamour of writing a book. You're not going to make $1 million. You're not going to sell 1 million books. Especially, look, Cyrus, there's still people who don't do social media, who are business, and I'm like, well, how are you gonna sell this book? And so that hat. I'm reevaluating. Let me say that. I'm reevaluating.
Hey, Tanya, we're going to make it a matter of prayer.
Yes. The prayers of the righteous.
Moses Maddox, hello to you, Moses. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. But I wanted to bring it up because I thought about it the last time you were on. I didn't bring it up, but so that's something for us to look forward to. So I want to put you on the spot for a second, Tanya.
Yes.
Tanya was one of the co-hosts of our very special show here on Amazon this week with the one and only MC Light. I want to ask you what that experience was like.
That was a dream come true. Let me tell you something. I grew up with Light as a rock, poor Georgie, roughneck. Every time she'd release something, she was telling our stories. We born in the same year. And so having that, first of all, it was unexpected. And it's another nugget of wisdom, you guys. You have to respond quickly to people who have opportunities for you. So Cyrus, you said, hey, can you do this? I responded, oh yeah, I'm going to move my schedule around. So quick, prompt response will give you opportunities that you want. And just having that 4 minutes with the legend, the icon, like her voice is like anointed for this universe. Was amazing. It was, like I said, a dream come true. Her presence when she got on, Cyrus, I was like, "Whoo, that's like."
Wasn't it? Because I'm gonna tell you, like I said, she and I've only met in person one time. It was like that the first time. It was my first trip to Los Angeles. When you walked in the room, she just made you
Oh
feel
my gosh.
welcome.
Yes.
Which was because there was of course a good crowd in there. It was a luncheon / awards that she was doing, but it was just so she's so confident in her space.
Yes.
And I'm sure you noticed what I noticed. She is so aware of other people. She was
Yes.
very attuned to you, to Chanel, to Kate. I mean, because they actually asked me your names before the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so it was, she was very in tune. So yeah, I love that. So for me, and also for our audience out there, I want to help you with your wish list. If you could name 3 names
Woo.
of guests that you would like to have on Real Talk with Tanya
Yes.
White, who would those 3, in any particular order, who would they be?
Yes. So I love Ricky Smiley, and been following him for decades. And so he has a new book out, Sideshow, which I'm so wanting to read, because he's talking about the loss of his son. And those of us who are fans went with that, grieved with him through that, the funeral, and still grieve with him because he talks about it. So Ricky Smiley will be my number 1. Candy Barris. She's a businesswoman, and she has done her own thing and used platforms to not only advance her career but others. So Candy Burris is another one. And the third one, Cedric. Oh yes, Cedric. I said he bear, because I follow him since '87. He's a book author now. He does he's into Grill Masters with those with Anthony Anderson. I watched that. I can't watch that too much because they make me hungry, that show. But he is one person who's evolved. His base is being a comic, but he has used his platform for other endeavors. And that's what most business people, especially Black business, we got to get out of staying in one pigeonholing ourselves. And so I'm attracted to people who take what their base and evolve it into other things, and also help other people. So those would be my top 3. If you say in the next 6 months, Ricky Smiley, Candy Burris, Cedric the Entertainer.
Well, I can let you know one of them will be in the next 3 months.
Yes.
And I can also let you know I have put the email in for Ricky, because she had mentioned that to me before about Ricky Smiley. She didn't know I had already reached out, but hopefully we'll be hearing from them soon. And I'm looking forward to seeing the 2 of you together.
Yes.
So I want to turn the table on our audience for a moment. Tanya, this is a great conversation. I'm glad to be able to talk with you. I mean, right after we both are on that high from MC this week. What advice would you give to others who are looking at what you're doing and not saying they want to do what you do? But let's go back to the beginning of how we started this conversation. What would you say to them about how they can go from having that list to making some action?
The first thing, you have to be comfortable with yourself, flaws and all. I have been working on Tanya White. Let me give my government name, Tanya Renee White, as a woman, and really being comfortable with myself, because I was not comfortable. I had image issues, and I still do, because I was always overweight. So I always heard, "Oh, you got such a pretty face, but if you just lose weight." So that was a complex for me. It still is when I hear those voices, but now I tell those voices to shut it up. But be comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
Do not dim your light, because we all have things that we are extraordinary at. I am extraordinary at bringing people in. People say you are everybody's cheerleader. That's because I had my mom and my father, my mother, and people close to me growing up cheering me on, even though I let society, stifle me about, my image issues. I always had people cheering me on. So I grew up with that way. And so I want other people to know, you can do this. You can do it. You can grow through it. That's why I share a lot, especially on social media, with my personal life. Now, people think, oh, you share a lot and you share all of it. No, I don't. I share the things that I know that people are going through. And I want them to know, like when I was dating going through my dating journey of 50. Then I finally met Stefan. We met on a dating site, and it was instant connection. We dated. We met in the pandemic. We was growing. We was gonna get married, and then he passed away. And so you can't just share the good. You got to share the ugly side of you and share it in a way that connects with people. And so be comfortable with yourself, because you are someone. When I said, when we talked about it was that's MC Light, you have that same effect, Cyrus, with people. I have that same effect with people. You are somebody's if I could just talk to them for a second. So you got to be comfortable with yourself. You got to have a plan, a strategic plan. You can't just write it down. You got to be about it, and be consistent and have prompt follow-up. Okay. I'm one with prompt follow-up, because in this business, Cyrus, you can't be waiting. When they say they want to answer, you got to have it. So if your team is lagging in getting what you need, sometimes you got to make hard, crucial decisions. It ain't personal, but I just need somebody else on my team who is flowing with me, because I have to. If Cyrus, you say, I need this from you, Tanya. If I have somebody who is responsible for that and they're lagging, they're not getting to me, I got to do it and then make that crucial decision. So you got to make things, it's not personal, it's professional, and have a team of people around you who are in the same vision, in the same flow, and being prompt about something. They're not perfect, but prompt. Okay. And sometimes you have to say, hey, I need this. You didn't do this. But if it's a repeated process, then you got to make those hard decisions. So be yourself, have a plan of action, be consistent, and have prompt follow-up.
Love that. Great advice. Again, everyone, Tanya White has been our guest. You can get her books that we discussed here. Again, we'll go ahead and share my screen with you guys so you guys can get the full title for those not on Amazon. And that is The Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much. It's available there on Amazon for on paperback for $15. I'm going to highlight for you guys that are on the platform. You can also, of course, get her book that I have here, Professionally Lynched. You all can get it here as well for $21.99. So you can take advantage of that. And Tanya, how can our viewers stay connected with you?
Stay connected with me on Facebook, Instagram, Real Talk with Tanya White. As you see, Tanya is Tanya. So Facebook, Instagram is Real Talk with Tanya White. LinkedIn is Tanya White KY, because I'm from Kentucky. What's the other platforms? Not on TikTok yet. Well, I'm on TikTok, but I'm not active because I'm old. And I got to learn that platform. Cyrus, I got to learn
it. But we will definitely make sure that we tag you on those that you have here. And again, we are simulcasting it for such. Oh, go ahead.
I forgot to say, Real Talk with Tanya White is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the T weeks. T is for Tanya. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, and it shows simultaneously on YouTube. Real Talk with Tanya White. Subscribe to that as well. And it's simultaneous on Facebook and Instagram every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. We have live shows, and some are pre-taped. But yeah, tune into me that way. And I would love to be on anybody's show, especially during this grief time is coming up, to talk about my book, The Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much.
Love that. Hey, Stacey, good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. Tanya, another great conversation with you. Really appreciate the time. And looking forward to our next chat together. Yes.
And let me tell y'all something. Y'all need a PR, a publicist. Y'all better get with Cyrus Webb, because he makes things happen. Just saying.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Tanya. And we thank you all for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.